This story takes us back to February 1948. The location was eerily familiar, almost the same region where Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 was last detected on radar in 2014. A narrow but extremely busy stretch of ocean known as the Strait of Malacca, lying between Malaysia and Indonesia. This passage is one of the most important maritime routes on Earth. Thousands of commercial and military ships pass through it every single year. On that particular day, the weather was unusually calm. The sky was clear, the sea was smooth, the wind was gentle, nothing out of the ordinary. Several American and British merchant ships were traveling through this route. Everything was normal. Until suddenly, something wasn't. Multiple ships in the area began receiving a strange radio signal. Once again, welcome to Hidden History. The signal wasn't a voice message. It was transmitted in Morse code. Morse code may be an old-fashioned communication method, but it was considered far more reliable than voice transmission, especially over long distances. Voice signals depend heavily on atmospheric conditions, fog, dust, humidity, distance, and line of sight. When interference occurs, voice messages can fade, distort, or completely disappear. Morse code, however, is made up of dots and dashes that can be decoded into full sentences at the receiving end. Even with atmospheric interference, Morse signals can travel thousands of kilometers without losing their meaning. The Morse code received that day began with a very familiar pattern. 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots. Then it repeated again. After that came a long sequence of dots and dashes. When fully decoded, the message read, SOS. SOS from steamship SS Ourang Medan. Request immediate contact with a ship equipped with shortwave wireless. Please send a doctor. This was the first message. Moments later, without pause, a second message arrived. It is believed the second officer is dead. Other crew members are also dead. Do not give medical advice. SOS. Immediate assistance requested. After this transmission, the ship sent its coordinates. Then came the final message. It was short, incomplete, terrifying. I die. And then, silence. Radio operators on nearby ships immediately tried to respond, again and again. No reply came. Minutes passed. Then longer. Every ship that had received the signal now understood one thing clearly. Something horrific had happened aboard a vessel called SS Ourang Medan. The closest ship capable of responding was an American merchant vessel named Silver Star. The captain of the Silver Star made a decision without hesitation. He altered course and headed directly toward the coordinates. At first, the crew assumed the ship might be sinking or had been attacked. After several hours of travel, they finally reached the location. Through binoculars, they saw it. A ship floating. When they drew closer, the crew of the Silver Star was stunned. The SS Ourang Medan appeared completely intact. No visible damage, no signs of flooding, no structural failure. It was simply drifting, silent and lifeless. One detail stood out immediately. Despite being a steam-powered vessel, no smoke was coming from its funnel. Even stranger, there was no movement on deck. A massive ship and total silence. The Silver Star's captain tried everything. They used loudspeakers. They sounded the horn repeatedly. Only the sound of waves answered back. Finally, the captain ordered a boarding team to investigate. When the rescue team stepped on to the Ourang Medan, they felt it immediately. The air was unnaturally cold. The ship was completely silent. Then they saw the first body. This was not an ordinary death. The man's face was frozen in absolute terror. His eyes were wide open. His mouth was fully agape. It looked as if he had witnessed something unimaginably horrifying in his final moments. His body was stiff. His arms were stretched forward, frozen as if he had tried to push something away. As the team moved forward, they found more bodies. They were everywhere. The captain was dead on the bridge. Officers lay lifeless at their stations. Crew members were scattered across the deck. Even the ship's dog was dead. And its death was just as disturbing. The dog's body was rigid. Its mouth was wide open. Its posture suggested fear or aggression at the moment of death. The most disturbing detail? No wounds, no blood, no bruises, no signs of violence, no struggle. Only the same expression of pure terror on every face. When the rescue team reached the radio room, they found the radio operator dead. His fingers were still resting on the Morse key, exactly where they would have been when he transmitted the final words, "I die." At this point, the Silver Star crew knew one thing for certain. Something deeply abnormal had occurred. No injuries, no physical trauma, yet everyone was dead. The decision was made to tow the ship to the nearest port for a full investigation. But before they could finish securing the ropes, something went terribly wrong. Smoke began rising from cargo hold number 4. At first it was light. Then, suddenly, fire. The flames spread rapidly, so fast that the rescue team had no choice but to retreat. They rushed back to their boats and returned to the Silver Star. Moments after they escaped, a massive explosion ripped through the Ourang Medan. The ship was torn apart. Debris scattered across the sea. Within minutes, the mysterious vessel, with all its secrets, sank into the depths of the ocean. No wreckage was recovered. No physical evidence remained. Only the eyewitness testimony of the Silver Star crew. Because there was no hard evidence, many dismissed the story as a fabrication. Others began developing conspiracy theories. Some researchers pointed out that SS Ourang Medan does not appear in Lloyd's Register of Ships, the world's most comprehensive maritime registry. But believers argued that this was the period immediately after World War II. Many ships operated under false names or were never officially registered, especially those involved in illegal activities. The Ourang Medan may have been one of them. In 1954, Dutch newspapers published articles detailing the incident. Some included interviews with individuals who claimed they had previously worked aboard the ship. Several alleged that the Ourang Medan was involved in smuggling illegal cargo. Attempts to trace the ship's owner failed due to lack of documentation. Then, decades later, in 2003, the CIA declassified a collection of secret files. One document referenced the SS Ourang Medan. It was a letter dated May 29, 1958, sent to the CIA. The writer stated, "I am convinced that the tragedy of the Ourang Medan, if it is ever solved, will also explain the disappearance of many aircraft and ships in this region." Whether the CIA ever investigated remains unknown, but the letter was classified for 45 years, and today it still exists in CIA archives. The most widely accepted and scientifically plausible explanation is this: a chemical leak. World War II had just ended. Germany and Japan possessed large quantities of deadly chemical weapons. Some experts believe the Ourang Medan was secretly transporting chemicals such as potassium cyanide or nitroglycerin. When potassium cyanide comes into contact with seawater, it can release hydrogen cyanide gas, a highly toxic substance. Inhalation can cause rapid suffocation and death without leaving visible injuries. This explains why the bodies showed no wounds. Nitroglycerin, however, is extremely unstable. Improper storage can cause spontaneous explosions, possibly explaining the fire and final blast. Another theory links the ship to Japan's Unit 731, a secret military unit that conducted biological experiments during the war. After Japan's defeat, the U.S. sought to acquire their research. It's possible the ship was transporting classified biological or chemical materials. A leak could have wiped out the entire crew.